England booked their place in a Rugby World Cup semi-final after defeating Fiji by 30 points to 24 in what was a very entertaining game with lots of drama, 2 back-to-back tries from Fiji, which put them in a position at the end of the game to have a shot at winning it. It took till 5 minutes into extra time for England to come up with a turnover and ultimately end the game. A very entertaining watch throughout, a real good first half with a fair few points being scored, a few tries to each team. Fiji actually topping the tries with 3 tries to 2. But it was ultimately the boot of Owen Farrell that kept Fiji at arm's range throughout. England, when they got in the lead, I think they were up 14 points, they went to sleep a little bit. They allowed Fiji back into the game, some amazing Fijian offloads from some amazing Fijian phases of play. Look, they can create something from nothing, and they really showed that in this game. Marcus Smith at fullback was an interesting call from Steve Borthwick. It's fair to say he got a baptism of fire. The Fijians definitely saw him as a point of weakness. Smith, with his first big tackle of the game, I think it was on Randrandra, or I think it might have been Habossi, or one of the big Fijian backs. They went straight into him, tried to bounce him. He got bounced slightly, but then went in for a second hit. So Smith at fullback, I think, surprised a lot of people in terms of his mental resilience, especially when it comes to physical contact. So look, brilliant stuff from Marcus Smith. Got a bit bust up. He won't be looking too pretty on Monday morning, but ultimately the job was done. England started off the quicker of the two sides with a penalty from Owen Farrell underneath the Fijian sticks in the first sort of 10 minutes, and then it was a try from Manu Tuolangi that kicked off the tries in this match. A real good sort of bust from Manu Tuolangi, managed to break, pull a leg through, and then dive out to score the try in the wide channels. A good build-up from England. They looked like they were throwing the ball about a little bit more than usual. Early on, they did play into the Fijians' hand. Some amazing Jacqueline threats in that Fiji side. To name a couple, Levani Botia and Mata were tremendous over the ball in this game, and they proved to be very troublesome early on. Look, part of the pre-match analysis would have been, do not let those guys get on the ball, run at them so they then can't jackal, things like this. But they still managed to perform it, and look, they were very, very good. It was a massive contest at the breakdown throughout the game, especially in the first half. I'd say both teams defensively were very good at the breakdown, but both were probably guilty of under-resourcing the breakdown in attack, which sort of stunted momentum at stages. And then the Fiji's first try came from Mata, a real good through the legs pass, and then Mata sort of show and go, stepped off his right foot and went in to score a try. Some very entertaining stuff from the Fijians, and they definitely didn't disappoint. And then Joe Marchant scored England's second try. Look, the Fijians really muscled up well up front, which forced England to use the back line to try and break the defence. Joe Marchant showed exactly why Steve Borthwick should be playing players in the positions they play for their clubs. If you had Farrell at 12 and Manu at 13, this try simply wouldn't have been scored. You needed the agility of an outside centre to come off of their, his left foot, and then a little sort of side step, and then managed to evade what was probably 3 or 4 defenders to score the try. So impressive stuff from Joe Marchant. And then Fiji scored 2 back-to-back tries, which was real good from them. Some really entertaining stuff. Look, the ability for the Fijians to sort of break through the line, even by just a few inches, and then offer the offload round the back of a defender, sent them through the middle. And look, Botitu also scored I think it was the second try. Some real good stuff from the Fijians, very direct. Look, they made a good breakdown into the England half and to England 22, and it was just some direct running really which got them over the line. Maritoji slipping off one of the tackles led them through to score. So look, it was ultimately a drop goal from Owen Farrell which took the scores from being even at 24 all to 27-24, and then a penalty from a break, an amazing break from Ben Earl actually, got England right down into the Fijian 22. He ran like 60 metres ball in hand. Every Englishman would have lost their voice screaming at him. And fortunately, we do get a penalty. I was sort of bemused as why that wasn't a yellow card. A huge line break opportunity, and yeah, England ultimately secured the 3 points from the boot of Owen Farrell, and then Fiji ultimately had to play for a try in the last few minutes, and they didn't, and that came to no avail. I mentioned the breakdown contest being huge from both sides. Brilliant work from Ben Earl and Courtney Laws on the English side, and ultimately it was Levani Botia, which was amazing. Nasila Sila getting over the ball as well for Fiji. Some of the collisions were simply huge, some real big hits going in on both sides of the ball. Ellis Genge had a collision with Levani Botia, which I was surprised both of them got up from. It was just huge. Yeah, The two back-to-back tries from Fiji definitely got me nervous at the back end of the game. Very disappointed from an English point of view how we let them back in the game, but ultimately the Fijians, they know how to play rugby, and look, if you give them the opportunity, give them just a sniff, they will take it. And look, when the Fijians are playing wide to wide throughout the whole game, they're going to make breaks and they're going to make meters, and they are so dangerous. Any Fijian that makes a line break, you instantly see flooding of support players coming through. And look, it sort of stems from their Fijian sevens team. They love to play ball in hand and offload and all these amazing attributes that such large men have. In terms of what the teams did well and didn't do well, England's maul and physicality I thought were very good. This game was always going to be for England one in which they couldn't play wide to wide and expansive rugby. They had to keep it tight and real and really take it to the Fijians up front. Defensive breakdown for England was a massive positive, really good over the ball, very impressive. And then the main negative was the attacking breakdown. Look, we knew what the threats Fijian had in the breakdown, but we just simply couldn't move them, and we definitely got isolated a good few too many times. Me personally, I don't know what your thoughts are on the decision to go to touch or take 3 points, but there was a couple times with Owen Farrell when we were in a pretty decent lead, sort of 14 points, or maybe it was 11 points at the time. We were just simply trying to go to the corner and scoring a try. In my opinion, these knockout games keep the scoreboard ticking. I'm about to watch the France-South Africa game, and I'm sure Ramos and on the French team and Le Boc on the South African team, I'm sure they'll be keeping the scoreboard rolling with the 3-pointers, and England really needed to do the same. In terms of Fiji, what they did well, huge physicality. They are massive men, and they throw their body around in such a committed way, so passionate, and really put their body on the line for each other. Some of the hits in this game were really quite something else. We've seen some huge tackles over the last few games. Ireland, New Zealand was just hugely physical. I'm not saying this one was anywhere near the sort of same level in terms of skill and execution as that game, but I'd say the levels of commitment were definitely up there and definitely close. The flair from the Fijians was just obviously something we were going to expect, but it was just, you never know. You know it's coming, but you never know it's coming, if you see what I'm saying. Like, you know that they're going to try and do it, but you don't know how they're going to do it. And look, some of the rugby is really fascinating to watch. The defensive breakdown was quality for Fiji, as I've mentioned, and the attacking breakdown did let them down at times, let England over the ball. And ultimately, I thought it was their line-out that struggled. Not necessarily the line-out darts, although England did disrupt a few of their line-outs. It was more the ability for England to continuously sack the maul. I think 5-6 times at least, the Fijians would go to maul it. Maratoji would just pull down the jumper, and it would turn into a ruck instead of a maul, which really is the maul's a brilliant attacking platform for many teams to benefit off of. And England managed to sort of stop that at source, and stop the Fijians from being able to play away from it, which I thought was a good tactic from England, and definitely something that hurt the Fijians, as it's a brilliant attacking platform, as I've mentioned. The Fijians definitely showed a lot of sort of adventure throughout the game, loved to play attacking rugby, and were very entertaining to watch. England move on to the semi-final, in which they're going to face either France or South Africa, a game in which I think will be very tough. Look, I'm very realistic. I'm not getting too carried away. I understand the enormity of that feat, and look, I know England will be huge underdogs in that game, and rightly so. But as an Englishman, I can say we're in a Rugby World Cup semi-final. We're not plenty of teams that went out in the quarters could probably have beaten us. If you look at the likes of Ireland, they would have loved to get England in the quarter-final. Sorry, but look, we played the card we were dealt with, and ultimately we find ourselves in a World Cup semi-final. And look, in sport anything can happen, but I'm not deluded. I know it's going to be an enormous challenge, and one which we're unlikely to come out on the right side of. But I'm just proud of the team. I thought they did very well. The Fijians played with a huge amount of passion, but I'd almost say we matched it. Ben Earl especially, unreal performances. Courtney Lawes, unreal. Ellis Genge, unreal. And Owen Farrell ultimately showed that he's still a world-class, or at least international class fly half. And he directed that England team almost flawlessly. I'd say the Habosi yellow card definitely hurt Fiji. And I think Owen Farrell in the last sort of couple minutes was unlucky to get to avoid a yellow card. Me personally, I completely see what Farrell's doing. He's making a tackle and he has no intention to slap it down, but when one hand's out and it touches it with a line break opportunity, it's often rewarded with a yellow card. So look, That's how the cookie crumbled, and England fall on the right side of the result by 6 points, and I'm delighted to see that. And look, Fiji can be very proud of their Rugby World Cup campaign. They've been phenomenal throughout, played with so much passion, and have brought smiles to their nations' faces and other rugby nations around the world. It has simply been a joy to watch them. They've got a big scalp on their record in Australia, creating Rugby World Cup history there. But ultimately, England do go on to win this match and grind out a win, mainly by the boot of Owen Farrell. But yeah, entertaining game. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Be very interested to see what you have to say. But yeah, thank you very much for watching.